Welcome to another episode of the Be Unstoppable podcast. Today, we have the incredible honor of hosting an artist who has been a pioneering force in the UK music scene for over 2 decades. From the moment his track Bounce hit the airwaves, Donae'O has been at the forefront of shaping the sound of UK black music. Growing up in northwest London under the watchful eye of a strict father, Donae'O's journey is a testament to his relentless drive and passion for music. His upbringing instilled a strong work ethic and discipline, which has undoubtedly contributed to his success. Donae'O's worked with some of the biggest names in the industry, including Giggs, JME, Calvin Harris, and so many more. His track Party Hard became an anthem in the UK club scene, cementing his place as a musical trailblazer. His participation in the PowerUp initiative revolutionized his business setup, further propelling his career, whilst a recent neurodiversity diagnosis has also given him a profound understanding of self, leading him down an enlightened path. Today, we'll delve into his inspiring story, the challenges he's faced, the lessons he's learned, and the vision for the future. Donae'O is not only an artist, but is also a businessman, a visionary who truly embodies what it means to be unstoppable. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Be Unstoppable podcast, the one and only Donae'O. Donae'O. I had to do that.
Lord of mercy.
See me now? I had to do that. Had to do it. Now we've got that out of the way.
And now we're good.
We're good. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, man? Boss man Ben, yeah?
I'm good, thank you, my brother. Welcome to the Be Unstoppable podcast.
Thanks for inviting me, man.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here and to have you on. I want to start with your early life. That's where I want to begin. Growing up in northwest London. How did your upbringing shape your character, your work ethic, and what was that like?
My mum and my dad was the draconian one. My mum was the free-spirited one. So my mum, to give context, you know the children in need adverts?
Yeah.
That was my mum.
As in?
That's how poor she was in Ghana.
Okay.
She lived that to owning houses in Ghana and coming over here. So my mum's got an entrepreneurial spirit in her. And my dad was a general in the army in Guyana. And he was the kind of work ethic. They both had work ethic, but one was more free-spirited and more entrepreneurial, think on your feet. The other was more like strict. Like my dad worked for the Metropolitan buses from when I was born. So he was like a conductor, and then he moved up to driving buses, and then he moved up to actually running, like, I don't know what you call it, a controller or whatever kind of thing. Whereas my mum, she moved freely. Like, say, for instance, there was a period where my dad was somewhere else, and my dad was in jail, basically, and I must have been like 6, 7, and we were, because I've always been between, growing up, I've always been between working class and poor, but there was a period when we were so poor, it was cheaper to live in Ghana. So my mum took us to go live in Ghana for like a year to get our stuff set.
And how old were you when that happened?
Must have been like 7. 6, 7.
And what kind of impact did that have on you to leave the UK? That must have been a culture shock.
It was a culture shock because we wasn't told. I was in the airport on a plane, and then I'm in this hot country, and then I'm realizing my dad's not here, and then I'm wilding out. Like, I didn't lose my accent. My sister lost her accent and everything. Me, I didn't lose my accent. Yeah. Nothing. I was just like, I want to go home, kind of thing. So it wasn't like, I never adjusted into the lifestyle, but I've lived there.
Yeah. So how long were you in Ghana for?
Like a year.
Okay.
Went to Acid Academy. Yeah. Got licks and everything. see that it's funny as well because they actually put a lot of effort into making sure that you're educated right and stuff like that. Like one of my punishments was, you know, when Bart Simpson writes on a board, I had to write "Let bygones be bygones" in perfect calligraphy.
Wow.
All the way through, like things like that, and you're not realizing what you're doing, kind of thing. And they were very smart. Like my brain, Like when you mentioned the neurodivergent thing, I kind of always knew. But my mum, I used to have problems at school, right? So the teachers, I'm 41 now. Mm-hmm. So when I was like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, there was no neurodivergence. You're just a bad kid. Yeah. And I was so troublesome, the teachers would just put me to sit on the carpet and not interact with the kids for the whole day. So I never had no like sociable skills or whatnot. So when we went to Ghana, all the teachers told my mum that there's something wrong with me. I'm dumb or something like that. Yeah. And my mum said to me, because I asked her, why did you get me a tutor? She was just like, because I speak to you every day and you don't seem dumb to me. Yeah. And then we got a tutor. The tutor did one lesson with me and told my mum, there's nothing wrong with him. He just learns differently. Mm-hmm. We're going to have to rewire his brain because they haven't taken the time to do that. So at 6, 7, I'm learning 0 plus 0, 0 divided by 0. By the time I came back, I was doing algebra and everyone's just learning about division. Okay. So in Ghana, it accelerated your learning, your education. Yeah, because it was kind of like, they didn't look at it as a problem. They looked at it like he learns this way. He thinks differently. Yeah. And I know how he thinks. So this is how we're going to, and that's where, that was my first introduction into work ethic, because what it taught me was, whenever you want to do something, start from 0. Because when you start from 0, you'll probably get to where you want to get to far faster than trying to start from 5 or 10. Yeah. A lot of people, when they start things, they don't look at what's 0. Yeah. Like say, for instance, if you're a PT and you want to start a YouTube channel, 0 is, well, do I enjoy filming myself? Yeah. Maybe I should just film myself on a phone for a month and let's see if I stick to it. Don't post nothing. Just, can I be consistent with this? And then after a month, you're like, well, I managed to do twice a week. I tried to do 5 days, but it didn't work. So I can do once a week. I can do a video a week on YouTube. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you see where the process comes from? Like 0. So that was when I realized, because when I came back and I'm doing calligraphy, algebra, like X plus Y and all that, and everyone's just learning. That's my first introduction to, this is the process, which is kind of in the Bible as well. It's like the first few lines in the Bible explains the same thing. Okay. So just touching on going to Ghana. Yeah. You've gone to Ghana, you spent a year, you've enjoyed a bit of a culture shock, but then it's actually helped you in many ways, propel you forward in terms of academically. You've come back, I've seen you mention in the past that, having an army general as a father instilled a lot of discipline in you. Can you elaborate on that, what that was, where that comes from? To give context, I was more afraid of my dad than I was of the police. If the police was to knock on my door and say, we need to talk to your son, I'll say, take me to jail. Jail would be easier than what my dad would do to me. Yeah. And that's like, I'm not even like, it's funny to hear it say it's funny, but going through it was not funny. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, so like, my dad was just very draconian, just extremely, but his dad was draconian with him as well. So I wasn't really allowed a lot of leeway when it came to certain things. But I think the work ethic didn't just come from him being draconian towards me. He himself was both my mum and my dad were hard workers. Do you know what I mean? Like, my dad never took holidays. He was always on time to work. He never did things in halves. He'd upset a lot of people at work because he'd be too to the book. So part of it, yes, his discipline was a bit much. Not even a bit much, it was very much. So say like things like, my dad was like, if I catch you smoking cigarettes, I'll get the whole cigarette box, I'll put the cigarettes in your mouth and I'll light all the cigarettes. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, he used to do that with food. Like, he's actually done that to me. Like, I'll accidentally eat a chocolate from, like my mum would buy like loads of Mars bars. My dad will make me eat all the Mars bars. Okay. And then it's like, so I know he would do that. So he was like, if you're going to shot crack, I'm going to make you sniff it. And you're going to sniff all of it. Like, yeah. So my dad was like, he was very, even little things like, he used to tell me all the time, if you get a girl pregnant, I'm taking you out of school, you're getting a job. Okay. Like, because he was so, I feel like his example and his draconianness and him following through on it kind of scared me into badness, scared me out of doing badness.
Okay. I was going to ask you, like, what effect did that have? Did that... Because some people would run towards doing wrong to try and test him. Bruv, others would run away from that.
I used to hang out with a lot of older guys, but everyone knew my dad. They would roll around and rob people. As a young person, you're thinking, I want to get involved. And they'd grip me up and be like, nah, we don't want no problems with your dad. You stay over there, innit? Like, you're not getting involved because I'm not dealing with your dad.
Yeah.
Like, it's long. So it saved me. Like his and it taught me how to move as well. Because it's kind of like within that environment, we're all struggling. And as long as you can stand up for yourself, you're kind of safe in that environment.
Yeah.
As long as you're not loud and you're not a show off.
Yeah.
Even that, stuff like that. Like my dad hated showing off and boasting and stuff like that. And if I had an argument with someone, he said this to me. He was like, so why are you bothered? Like, why are you telling me that some man has told you something and then you're upset? I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
So, my dad was like an extremely honourable man kind of thing. But he was definitely a way too strict on me, but yeah.
So, and how did that translate to your relationship with your parents? You know, you say your mum was free spirit, your dad was quite draconian. How did that manifest in terms of your relationships?
I just think you have different it kind of moves differently because my mum's quite creative. So my mum was a musician and I could relate to that with her, but my dad was more like when you having a job and stuff like that. So my dad was more, I wouldn't say the relationship was more transactional, but it was kind of like, as long as I'm going to do my duties as a man, we can have a relationship. If you're going to be a waste man, I'm not interested. Whereas mum was a bit more like, I need you to have some level of an entrepreneurial spirit to survive. Like, otherwise this is long as well, kind of thing. So there was pressures from both sides. But in hindsight, the pressures, because me and my sister have done the best we can with our lives. And it's funny, I feel like I lean a bit closer to mum's side of things. Like, I'm more free spirited. I can think on my feet. I'm very much naturally an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And my sister, she works for like a massive corporation and she's like at the top of the ladder. So she's more like dad. But both of us mix and match both things. Like, say, when it came to the BLM situation, my sister was the one that was educating the company on, you know, what it's like to be a black woman with and then like the stories she would tell me and the language and the conversations she would have and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Cool. It's funny how our parents can really influence us in the way that we move without us even realizing. Like,
yeah.
I was thinking the other day, you know, my mum used to tell me, there's nothing that you can't do. Anything you put your mind to, you can achieve it. Anything that you want to do in life, you can make it happen. I think she wanted me to be a lawyer or a doctor or something. Yeah. But I took that and I was like, and that's why I'm quite steadfast when it comes to the things that I want to do within my working world. And when someone's like, oh no, you can't do that, why not?
But when your mum was telling you that stuff, was she living that herself as well?
She was, yeah. Like, I saw my mum came over as, I'm supposed to be interviewing you, but I'm happy to share. You know, my mum is a first generation immigrant from Jamaica.
Oh, sick.
And she came over without any qualifications.
Right.
She came over before she was allowed to take her exams. And I've seen her growing up. I've seen her get her O-levels, then become a lawyer, and then pass the bar and qualify as a barrister. So I've visually seen her achieve her dream of becoming a barrister. So her saying to me, anything you want to do, you can achieve. I believe that. You know?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think when it comes to parents, telling your children is one thing, but telling them and backing it up with the actions is different. I feel like the actions, to a certain extent, are more, because you've actually got an example of what that is. Even like my mum not accepting the teacher's diagnosis of my neurodivergence.
Yeah.
She didn't just say, baby, you're okay. She said, no, I'm going to go out and I'm going to find someone to help with this. Yeah. It's the same reason why, all right, so You want to know how that transfers? My mum's done that for me. I'm like, I want to change my business. I now go and find mentors.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how to get grants and start a charity, and I need to actually focus on the business thing. I go hunting for you and Yao. I don't know that it's you and Yao I'm looking for, but that's where the transfer is. It's like her not leaving that has probably made me go, oh, so when you don't know something, it's okay to find someone that does.
Yeah.
And be intentional about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like one of the transfers.
Yeah. Understood. So what led you towards music? What took you on the journey towards music? Because, you know, you're coming from this household, you got your dad saying, get a job. You got your mum saying, get a job, but, you know, be entrepreneurial with it. What took you towards music?
When I was 6 years old, my dad put in a hip hop tape, and it had KRS-One, Kool Moe D, Slick Rick on it. And I remember there was a Kool Moe D song playing, and I remember thinking, I'm going to do this forever. And that's how it started. And then I was just obsessed with it. It was almost like God was like, I need you to figure this bit out of your life before you figure out everything else, because there's a reason I need you to do this. Because everyone else I speak to, they find their passions like later on in life, whereas I found my passion before I could even comprehend it was a passion.
Yeah.
It was more like, this is an order and you're going to follow it. Because I've always had a relationship with God. I've never not known God, even before I understood there was religion. So I was just like, okay, cool. Well, I enjoy it. So I've yielded to it, because you kind of got to yield to your blessing before you get the blessing.
But how do you know that that's God talking? And I want to get into, you know, you've mentioned God a few times just at the very beginning of this conversation. So I do want to get into understanding your relationship with faith. But how do you know that's God talking to you, saying this is what I should be doing?
I think for me, I don't know if it's different for everyone. I don't want to say that, but I think I can tell you how it works for me. If there's an emotional connection to the thought and there's something that is on my mind all day, like God speaks to me in like visions, or say like my name Donae'O, he'll speak to me in visions, or he'll put a thought in my head that sounds like it's my idea, but it's not really. So say like with the rap song, it's like, okay, cool. Now you've heard what I need you to do. Just do this. So with my name Donae'O, I prayed to God, arrogantly thinking I'm asking him for something. I'm thinking, I want a name like De Niro, which is masculine and beautiful to me. It's a masculine name, but it's quite it's sexy. You get me?
Means money in Spanish.
Yeah,
and
pause. But it's vibes, isn't it? So I'm like, I want a name like that.
Yeah.
So my friends start a group called Donae'O. So I'm like, that's the name. But I'm not going to teeth my friend's name.
Yeah.
So I'm like, can I join the group? I joined the R&B group. They disband, they break up. I asked everyone if I have a name. One of my friends says, when they all said I can have a name, and one of the friends said, you know the name means gift from God. He doesn't even know I've prayed for the name. But really what happened is God was like, I need you to find Donae'O. It sounds like this. This is why I want you to have it. Now go and search.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So it's like, it's really like it's either like a loud example or a loud vision. And sometimes as well with other people, like I might just speak to someone and then we're just having a long conversation about something. Like this whole, my relationship with you started from a conversation with my friend that was confused about how certain companies were getting £1 million grants in COVID. Yeah. And he said to me something interesting. He said, everyone's angry about this. I want to know how they did it. And I thought, why don't I want to know? Then that brought curiosity. And then I went on Twitter, not even to look for it. But again, it's like now it's in my brain. Yeah. Funk Butcher starts talking about PowerUp. I'm like, oh, I know Butch. Then me and him talk. And then, so you got to remember, right? I've been doing this since 6. I've had like my own personal relationship with God since 6. So God kind of curated that relationship in me, like say you would curate socializing with other people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the way I speak to God, it's like I can hear it very loudly. Like January the 21st, I had a loud conversation. The other day I had a mind dump. I couldn't sleep all night. It was like God finally told me what it is that he wants me to do. And then this was the brain dump, bruv. Look. I couldn't even sleep. I had to just write all of this down.
It's a whole lot of stuff that Donae'O. Whoa, that's lots.
That's what I'm saying.
Jeez.
Like it was a full-on plan, and it was like I was like, you see that face you're pulling now? Now, like when it's like very intense, like it was very clear. Even like little things like who I'm supposed to be working with, how I'm supposed to be working with them. It was just like and at first I was like, no, I'm just gonna go sleep. And I couldn't sleep for an hour. It was the information, and it kept on repeating. And I was like, okay, I know. Okay, fair enough. I went downstairs. I just kept on writing, had to think, remember some of the stuff, kept on writing until it was all out. And then I slept like a baby.
So what would you say your relationship is with God, or your faith relationship looks like?
Oh, God comes first. And then I serve the people that God has put me on this earth to serve. That's it.
And who are those people?
Or
how do you serve them?
That's a good question. I think everyone has people that they serve, but they also have people that serve them.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say Dave Chappelle. Like, I was born with a certain taste for comedy.
Yeah.
I was always going to like Dave Chappelle's comedy. Dave Chappelle was always going to do Dave Chappelle's comedy. He serves me by doing that type of comedy, right? And I laugh. I serve him by watching his stuff and buying tickets for him.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It's like, it's a yin and a yang kind of situation. And I think serving people as well, it's like, you have to learn, because we're not here to serve everyone. And I think that was one of the mistakes I'd made a lot. And I think that's an arrogant mistake as well, to think that, you're everyone's hero. It's like, no, you're not. Like everyone's got a group of people they are supposed to serve.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you have to find those people, because God will make them find you. And then you kind of got to give them the space to let them tell you how to serve. Like with say Yao, I said to you and Yao, I said, I'm here for whatever you guys want. Left it. Yao's like, can you come Liverpool to do a panel? Yes. Can you come here to do a this? Yes. Can you come and speak to our cohorts? Yes. Can you? And then over time, you start realizing, oh, Ben's, I'm supposed to serve Ben, not on a short term, on a long term thing. I'm supposed to serve Yao. Like there's a reason why we've connected. And at some point beyond this is like the introduction so that we can build the relationship.
Yeah. Because
we still have to build the human relationship.
Yeah.
You can't just trust someone just because they say, hey, I'm here to help. Like there needs to be a level of trust there. Like Yao knows if he calls me and I say, I can't do it, I cannot do it.
Yeah.
But if I can do it, I will do it. I know Yao will sort me out certain things. Say like with you, like when we did the PowerUp grant, I done what I needed to do with it. I showed you what I did with it. There was a level of trust there. I'm like, I need some more money. I've got other plans. You're like, we can't go here, but I'm going to introduce you to A, B, C, and D. And then I've gone to A, B, C, and D. Obviously, I've hopefully, not respected your name. What's the word? I've done a good job of representing you. Now those people look at me like you. Now over time, I'm like, okay, cool. Ben's a connector. Like now I'm starting to see like, and then another thing people don't realize is we're all supposed to serve. So say like I'm supposed to serve you, but you're also supposed to serve me.
Absolutely.
If it's a one-way thing, I think God's saying, I need Ben to go here. Mm-hmm. I need Ben to go from point A to point B, and you've got the thing he needs to go from point A to point B. Once he's at point B, you two need to leave each other alone.
Interesting.
The Joseph story explains the A to B situation I'm not going to C. So Joseph had brothers. He told the brothers that they were going to serve him or he was going to be their king. They got jealous. They tried to sell him. They tried to kill him. They felt bad. Then they sold him into slavery. Long story short, he done a few things. Pharaoh's like, I need you to work for me. There's a famine for 7 years, but he saved for 7 years. When the 7 years of famine happens, They need to come to him and he looks after them. They realize it's the brother they tried to kill and they're thinking, oh, he's going to murk me. And he was like, no, God ordained you. Like, my journey was to be here so that I can save the world, right? And it was God who ordained you to do the badness.
Yeah.
Because I would not have gone on the journey I needed to get there.
You hadn't directed me.
Yeah, so God needed me to get to B. And I wouldn't have gotten to B if you guys didn't do what you did. So you needed to get me from point A to B, and then we needed to separate and then go on.
So I guess that's also we're going quite deep here, but that's also a look into divinity, I guess. So
yeah,
you're looking in, you're starting to talk about every action having a reaction, and the guidance towards your right path. So when people kind of go, "Oh, I've just lost my job, what am I going to do?" and they're down dumps, actually, you can look at that in a different context. I've just lost my job because God is redirecting me to where I'm meant to be.
Yeah. And maybe you need to go to the dole, because that's a good example, right? If you have had 4 jobs in a row, you've done the CV, you've done the interview, you've done really well at getting the jobs.
Yeah.
Never been fired, never not had a job.
Yeah.
When you get fired or don't have a job for the 4th time, a lot of people's instinct is, I'm a waste man, I ain't got a job. But your past doesn't say you're a waste man. Your past says that when you're ready to get a job, you'll get one. So maybe you need to sit down for a bit and not worry about money. Worry about where am I supposed to be? Because you're not a waste man. Because the last 3 jobs you had before this, it wasn't like you was just lounging around and doing nothing. So clearly you was fired for a reason. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like,
if it doesn't,
no, it makes complete sense. Like, I'm very much of my outlook, and the reason this podcast is called Be Unstoppable is because nothing can stop me. My outlook is slightly warped in the sense that I believe that the whole world is in a conspiracy to ensure that I succeed. So every interaction I have, positive, negative, every thing that someone might deem to be a bad thing, I spin that on its head and go, oh, okay, that happened. Yeah. It wasn't very nice going through it, but actually that's meant to happen so that I can go and be great. Yeah, because I'm unstoppable.
Yeah. Because the thing is, unless you are actually being lazy, you kind of got to look at your past actions to know who you are as a person. And we're so busy trying to survive, we don't actually look at ourselves.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can find what your divinity is by looking at how you would have reacted beforehand.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting, Donae'O. So just coming back to the music, can you share with us the story behind your first big break, which was Bounce? How did it feel to see your music starting to gain traction within the UK funky house movement?
Bounce was grime.
How did it feel? Okay, well, let me do that question again.
No, keep the mistake, bro. Keep the mistake.
I feel like, you know what? I feel like Bounce. It's funny because with your music, it's very hard to pigeonhole it in one. Yeah. So, for example, like I was listening to Party Hard on the way here.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to you playing jazz keys in the middle of the record.
Yeah.
So I'm like, your music has so many fusions and influences anyway.
Yeah. No, I get that.
So you can take elements and go, that's a funky record. Well, actually, no, it's a grime record because he's spitting this way. And there's elements of different things.
This will give you context. So grime was the first scene I was in. I did well in. Then it was bassline. Then the third scene was funky. Then the fourth scene was house with Gone in the Morning. Then the fifth scene was rap. The sixth scene was Amapiano, UK Amapiano. The seventh scene was drum and bass, which I'm doing now. So yeah, that's the timeline.
Yeah.
And then I think the audience wants me to go back to funky now.
And then within that, there's elements of reggae, dancehall, jazz, R&B, pop.
I had a teeny weeny reggae moment. Teeny weeny. You have to ask DJ Face about that. There was a tune that was popping off, but I don't know. I think I was just supposed to do that little run.
Yeah.
And then I did the the acoustic album where I was doing beatboxes and stuff like that, with Stay Scheming came. So yeah. But yeah, those are the sets. So with Bounce, so I made Bounce when I was 17.
Yeah.
And I met Sticky at that point, and we went up and down the country and promoted that song for a year. You know what I mean? Just like, he'd let me just jump in his car and just go to his bookings, and I'd host a set, and then I'd perform Bounce and stuff like that. And that kind of taught me how to promote music.
Legendary Sticky producer of all types of key records in the early noughties. So from that, so you learned how to promote records.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward, Party Hard happens.
Yeah.
Considered a UK club anthem.
Mm-hmm.
What was the inspiration behind the song? And did you anticipate it, that it would become such a prevalent record within the club scenes? You throw that on now, goes off.
Mm-hmm.
No,
praise God for that. Yeah,
I can see you smile. You're like, yes, it does.
Yeah. No, because you know what? I think I've come to a state where I'm just like, wow, God's really blessed me, man. So when I'm smiling, I've gone, man. I've always been close to God, but now I'm older. I'm like, I wish I was closer back then. I would have seen a lot of stuff sooner.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because even at that period, everyone was like, how did it feel? I would say how I handled Funky House was how God wanted me to handle everything, because I wasn't feeling anything. I wanted to have a 9 to 5, and music was a way for me to not do badness on the side, to survive while I'm working a 9 to 5, because all my friends were doing that.
Can you elaborate on that? What you mean?
Okay,
by
so I did the grime thing and the bassline thing, and I was living the artist lifestyle. Okay. No money, you're being artistic, you think you're gonna blow.
Yeah.
And then again, like, this is where my dad comes in. At some point, I'm thinking to myself, this is whack. I don't like this. Like, I'm 23. I've never really had a job. I'm always broke. I can't take girls out on dates. Yeah. My friends have been going Iron Appa since they were 17. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've missed out on a lot of things. Do you see what I'm saying? So I decided there and then, I'm stopping music, and I'm going to get a job, and I'm going to fix up, and I'm going to start creating a routine, and I'm going to fix all my issues, waking up early, my issues with authority, all of that. I was like, this is not cute. Like,
yeah.
I need to be a man now, like, kind of thing. So my friend got me a job at Car Phone Warehouse. And then that's when reality set in. Because I'm used to the hood. I'm used to people decided to become gangsters and other things, right? I'm used to that. So I'm thinking you just either decide to be bad or you don't. I'm used to that. I'm used to being around real badness kind of thing.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that there was plenty of good people that had to do badness. Like they kind of basically, their choices were really limited. So I'm going to work with people that are like good people. I've seen them out on road. They don't hang out in a gang. Like, I'm getting to talk to them, and man's selling crack. And I'm like, why are you selling crack? And he's like, bruv, I'll be honest with you. Like, I've got 3 kids and I got married last year. I don't have any degrees. Like, this job is not paying enough. Yeah. And I need to do that. And when the guy's telling me we're having a real talk and he's not happy about it. Yeah.
Or he doesn't want to do it, but out of necessity.
Out of necessity.
He has to.
And like the conversations I'm having, and then my next friend's money laundering. Like, bruv, like, if the police, it's like, D, how else am I supposed to? Similar story. Like, it wasn't like these guys were just like, I want a fancy car. They were me without no other options. Yeah. And that's why I got back into music, because I was just like, right, I need to get back. Once I started, I was a very, very, very hard-working man in that job, and I did excellently. So much so that I was given so much leeway by my manager and stuff like that, because they knew I would get the job done, kind of thing. Then I just decided, right, I've got a talent. I like funky. I'm just going to release tunes. As long as I can make 150 a month, that stops me from doing other things, because those conversations made me realize I'm no different to them. And if they had to do it, I don't care how draconian my dad was or whatever. I'm a man now. If I get myself into a situation where I have a kid or whatnot, that might be me.
Yeah.
That scared the hell out of me. I was like, I don't want to do that. I didn't want to do it when I was close to it.
Yeah.
Like my friends are pulling out hundreds of grands and they're like, why don't you just roll with us? Like no one's going to bother you. It's like, the money's not that important to me. But that was like, that would make, like if I get myself where I find a woman I want to be with and I start having children, I just know the type of man I am. And that scared me, that slightly might be a possibility.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So then I started putting out like funky tunes. I was actually the first record. You know, I gotta get up, I gotta be strong. Okay. So that song, even that, the rain keeps falling down, that's me like, that was before I actually grew up. That was me having a conversation again with God. Mm-hmm. And God's like, I've given you everything, you need to deal with it now. That's why the song's called I.
Okay. So
I'm complaining to God and he's like, what are you talking about, bruv? I've blessed you already. Like, I'm not gonna hold your hand while you're doing this.
Yeah.
So then I put out I, and then I put out Devil in a Blue Dress, and then boom. The rest is history, yeah.
So you put these records out, they're gaining traction in the clubs. Gaining traction is an understatement. It's going off in the clubs. Devil in the Blue Dress is popping. You're now Donae'O.
No, I'm not Donae'O
yet. You're not Donae'O yet?
No.
Okay. So it's starting to happen for you.
But I'm making money.
It's starting to pop off. You're making money from these songs.
Yeah.
But you're still at Car Phone Warehouse?
Yeah.
Or you've left?
No, I'm still at, because I've, like, you got to remember, like, the humility was kicked. This is what I'm saying. Sometimes you got to let God work on you. You got to let the situation work on you. By the time Devil in the Blue Dress had done well, I'm already 6-7 months into I've got a responsibility. I need to wake up. I need to go to work. I've got a manager. She was such an amazing manager. Like, if I did right by her, she'd do right by me. If I needed to go job interviews, she'll say, look, just say you're sick. When they were doing a reshuffle, I always sat next to the people that ran the companies because there was no other seats. Girls would come and talk to me and bring me food. And one day I asked them, I was like, why do you let me, like, when they turned off everyone else's YouTube, my YouTube channel was still on, but everyone was like, just don't tell everyone. I was like, why do you guys let me do this? And they were like, because we see when it comes to work, you tell everyone to leave you alone.
Yeah.
Like you are allowed these leeways, even little things like that. So my experience with growing up was quite, in that small period of time, was quite positive.
Yeah.
It was like, if I do the work and I work hard, it will benefit me. So by the time Devil in a Blue Dress came out, I wasn't looking at it like, oh my gosh, everyone loves me. It was more like, right, my goal's starting to work. I make this amount of money from work. I'm making a little peas, and I'm not making loads of money. The first 10 bookings were free. Then I'm charging like $150 a booking. And I've told my agent, don't charge any more. When I put out a second record, then we can increase the money. Yeah. When I charge a third record, then we can increase the money further than that. And I'm making my little money per month, putting that away in savings. But at that point, my mind had already changed. I didn't have an artist mindset anymore. I didn't have when I say artist mindset, we all are attention seekers. Whether people like to admit it or not, we're attention seekers for a reason. Like, and if you can home it, you can use that to entertain people and do good for people. But my one was humbled. So I knew when to bring it out, when to not bring it out. So, like, say, we'll go and do a performance, me and my friend who worked at the Car Phone Warehouse. After that performance, if we can't go home, we will drive to work an hour beforehand, sleep in the office.
Wow.
And then go to work. Do you get what I'm saying? It was like, that was my priority. Music was like a side thing.
That's a serious work effort.
Yeah. All the way up to Party Hard and beyond Party Hard. I didn't leave work until I'm Fly. So I was working for 2 years, the whole period, basically.
So the whole time that it was going off, it was ringing off in the clubs, you're up and down the country, gigging, performing this track, shelling shows.
Yeah.
You're going back the next day
to work,
Car Phone Warehouse.
Well, Car Phone Warehouse was the first job, because what it was Car Phone Warehouse was my introduction to finding a job that I can grow in. So I got the job at Car Phone Warehouse. Now I've built up I'm going to get a banging review.
Yeah.
I've got the work ethic now, so I'm not worried that I'm going to be a waste man anymore. I know I can do the jobs. So now I've built up all of that. Now I'm looking for other jobs, but I'm not just looking. I'm actually looking at the company. Can I grow in this company? Is there movement for this? Da, 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 da. I found a place called Safe Estates, and then I worked there. And that was just after African Warrior. And then that's when things were peak. That's when like Glastonbury were. And I think the woman that was my manager, I think she knew I was Donae'O. Because she was cool.
Yeah.
But she never said anything. Because they wanted me to I did a good job there. They wanted to promote me, but I didn't want to take the promotion. Like first 2 weeks of working there.
So had you not shared with them that this is what you do outside of work?
No, because it's not appropriate, is it? It's like because they're gonna say to me, so where's your focus? Everyone's going to say that. It's kind of like, because everyone's perception of it is, you're a star and you're going to be raving and drinking and coming in drunk and all that. Yeah. And I would come in maybe a bit hungover. But the job is But
you got the job done.
I think what happened was, I was so good at my job, they offered me a promotion in 2 weeks of working there. I turned it down because, again, this was my first introduction to actually doing right by myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not sure that Can I swear?
Be free.
Bruv, my manager, because I had a big manager and then I had a small manager. He was a pussy. I said to him, like they've offered me this bigger role with a team that probably suited my personality more.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that I was holding up half of the team. He's just like, yeah, but I'm not sure that you should go with them because, you're doing well here and I kind of need you. And me, because I'm not confident with all that stuff yet, I've gone, cool, I won't take the promotion. So by the time Party Hard came, I'd already proven that this job is my priority. So they never questioned it. But now in hindsight, it's like, I can see they knew. But again, I already showed and proved. I'm like, I feel like if you show what you're really, really on, then people make their own decisions about you. They don't make the general decision about you.
Absolutely.
Because even when I left the job, I kept on saying, my mom's ill, I need to da-da-da. And the woman was like, look, Ian, if your mom is ill this much, maybe you should think about looking after her. This is after I just come back. And I'm like, and she was like, but then the way she said it, it was like she knew I took the job seriously. She was like, look, we're going to give you an amazing reference. Like, you've done right by us, so don't. But I think the way she was talking to me was like, I know, right? But me, I'm so focused on just doing right. I'm just like, so that was like after I'm fly.
So at what point did you say, okay, it's getting too hard to juggle the two worlds. I need to focus on the music. I need to go in.
That conversation started it because she wasn't firing me. Yeah. She was basically saying, you can do what you're doing, but you're burning a candle at both ends. Because I was like, Safe Estates was a very serious job and I was trying to move up. And I think she was kind of saying, bruv, she probably went raving to my things and just didn't come up to me. Like, she was just basically saying, we're not firing you, but if you need to look after your mum, we think you should look after her. But it was more, I think she was saying.
So she was giving you an out.
Yeah, but I didn't want to take that out.
Yeah.
And then I was having conversations with my mum, my dad, my friends. It wasn't just like a whimsical. And then my friend was like, we've had this conversation before. And I was like, if I was making 3 times the money, so if my job is making a certain amount and music is making me 3 times that amount the job was paying me, I would leave. Yeah. And the job was doing that.
So at that point, the music was making 3 times.
Yeah, for like a year straight, it was making 2 to 3 times. Yeah. Yeah. And then I thought, and then my friend was like, you know what? You can leave. But again, he managed me as well. And he probably wanted me. Now, when I look at things, I could have stayed at the company and just organized my time better. I would have preferred actually to have done that. Okay. Because I didn't have to perform everywhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it was like I was doing, and that's another thing about being a workaholic. Sometimes you can work yourself to literal death. And absolutely. Really what I should have done is gone to everyone, leave me alone for a week. Let me just take a week off. Let me look at the scenario. And what I would have done is I would have carried on working for another year or 2. I like the people I work with. I didn't love the job, but I loved going into work. Mm-hmm. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's always like stories going on. Like, people are doing certain things. Everyone's telling me what they're doing. was just like, it was just fun. It was just like, I enjoyed Safer States a lot. And if I had time, I think that whole period, when I think about it, is like, sometimes it's not good to ask people for advice, because if you're benefiting someone, they're might give you advice based on what
that's in their best interest.
In their best interest rather than yours, kind of thing. And saying it out loud, I was like, right, that was happening a lot at that period. Yeah. But it worked out, so I haven't had a job since.
Okay. And how long ago was that?
2009.
Wow. Well done. So you left. Mm-hmm. What happened next?
Funky did well. Then Funky died. Then I moved on to house. Made Gone in the Morning. I liked house. I didn't enjoy the environment as much as I enjoyed funky. Then rap, burst. I made My Circle, made Come Down for Western. No, me and Morgan went to America first. So no, after house, I learned how to make pop music with Brian Higgins and Xenomania. And then me and Morgan were basically living in America for like a few years.
Morgan's a music manager that used to work
at Western and SBTV, yeah. And then I learned how to make. Once I worked with Brian Higgins, I realized if I want to make other styles of music, I need the experts that understand that.
The legendary Brian Higgins, Xenomania, producer, songwriter.
So after working with him, I was like, he explained to me how to make pop, right? So I realized if I'm going to make rap music, I need to understand why, because there's certain nuances you don't get. We've taken it and we've taken our culture and this is British rap culture. But to make rap, you kind of have to be out there. You have to be in the clubs. You have to experience the culture. You have to understand why they talk about money so much. Because a big thing over here, people that aren't really into it, why do they talk about money so much? When you go over there, you understand why they're talking about money so much.
Why do they talk about money so much?
It's really hard to be successful. Like the amount of things people have to do to win in America, it's not easy. Like we think it's easy because we see the end result.
Yeah.
We don't see the dungeon they came from. So they're just like, it's more like, finally I make it. Do you know what I mean? So like little nuances like that, you won't understand. You just think they're showing off, and they're not showing off. They're just like, finally.
Celebrating arriving.
Yeah. And that's how they celebrate arriving, kind of thing. And then even the culture of America, like the capitalist culture and stuff like that, is different to our culture when it comes to capitalism. Do you know what I mean? Racism, completely different over there to over here. You just once you're there, you even understand why the music's so good. You understand it. And then with learning how to make pop music from a pop producer and learning how to make rap music from rap and R&B producers, then Lockdown happened and My Circle and Come Down with, and that's why that run was so like really intense, because my level of skill had been risen tremendously.
So that's when you got to Island. So just before we get into you sign into Island Records and what that was like, you know, you had always been very vocal about the importance of being independent. You've always been independent. What made you forego that independence and head into a situation with a major? I'd
say because I've always been independent, there's been this air like, he stands for independence. No, like, when I started doing music, there was no black music economy.
Yeah.
And the one that was there was pirate radio and clubs.
Yeah.
I had to figure out my mother's teachings, or whatever you want to call it, is what kicked in there.
Like her entrepreneurial energy that you spoke about earlier.
And figure it out.
Yeah.
Because this is what I'm supposed to do from 6 years old. This is what I'm going to do. And so it wasn't like I championed being independent. I do champion being independent, but not in the way everyone else is, where they're dissing the majors and all that sort of stuff. It's more like I had to do it. There was no other choice but to do it, kind of thing. And I became so good at it, I stuck with it. Do you know what I mean? I was able to buy a house from it. I was able to support other people. I was able to start businesses, have employees. Managers were making money. It was like, I'm really good at this kind of thing. Then when Ireland came, it's funny, right? Funky to everyone else is my biggest moment. But behind the scenes, the rap run was my biggest business moment. It was just like, whoa, like, this is mad. Like, a lot of money's coming in.
Yeah.
I can't handle all the employees because I've got something called sole trader's disease. So sole trader's disease is when you start a business yourself, and then when it becomes too big for you to manage, you don't delegate because you're scared to delegate because you're like,
you're used to getting it done.
Yourself. Yeah, and it's like, oh, they're not going to do it like me, and da 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 da. So I thought naively, if I get a record label involved, they can handle those things, and then they can take that side of the business off from me, and then I can handle this, and then things will get zoom.
You say naively. Why was that naive of you?
Two things. I think I didn't get any research done into the major thing, if I'm honest. Like I didn't fully understand how major record labels worked. If I understood it, I would have understood that's not how I should see them. And the second thing was I didn't have a mentor at the time to guide me through things, kind of thing. So naively means like a record label isn't there to run your business.
Yeah.
A record label is there to buy product from you and exploit your product for their business. They're not trying to manage your employees, and they'd rather you don't have employees. They just want you to shut up, make the tunes, which is fine if that's what you want, but that's not what I wanted.
How did that work out for you at Ireland?
How
was the experience?
Ireland was a brilliant experience because I was able to be inside the room, and because in my head, I'm running a business and I'm partners with Ireland, so I'm going in the office every day. And they were all like, now I've come out, I find out some people were pissed I used to go in the office every day because I'm holding everyone accountable, innit? So I'm sitting down with the radio people, I'm sitting down with Darkus, I'm sitting down with the marketing people, we're doing market research on marketing, so I'm helping the digital team on how to do social media and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm just constantly like in the office. Like I was in the office so much, they had a work party and didn't invite me and I was vexed. And then the girl who's a radio plugger, she took me to the side and said, I understand why you're vexed, but you got to understand, everyone don't see you as a businessman like we do. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, some people, like, they are shook when you walk in. Because to them, they're just
you're the artist. So
but he's here and he's brazen. Like he talks to, and he holds me account. And they're like, whoa, they're used to managers doing that. But but the way I'm doing it is like, well, I'm really holding you accountable. Not in a, let me just shout at you. And I'm like, no, I expect it to be done. And I'm going to be here to make sure you do it. And I'm going to sit here politely, but you're going to do it. And they're like, yeah, it was, but no one can tell me no. So
on the flip side, they on one hand, they should appreciate that you're invested, you're committed to making sure you have a successful project. No,
if that's not the person, again, it goes back to serving. So my job wasn't how I served Ireland.
Yeah.
Or you don't serve a record label by being in partnership with them. You serve them by making the product, selling it to them, and let them sell it. If you can understand that and deal with that, go for it. If you want to be a business, to be invested by another business, get a distribution deal and go to a hedge fund.
What's the difference between the record deal, the distribution deal, for those that might be watching and don't understand?
Is you give your product to them, to the label, and they pay for everything. A distribution deal is you make the product, they send it to Spotify, you pay for everything. That's the difference. Record labels pay for everything, distribution. So record label give it to Spotify, they pay for everything. Distributor gives it to Spotify, you pay for everything. With a distributor, you get a larger percentage of the pie, like at 85%. So you actually get to retain a lot of the money, so you can actually hire staff.
Yeah.
With the record labels, the other way around, they take 75 to 85%, normally 85%, and you take 15.
So why does everybody want to get a record deal?
Because, right, We've been bombarded with the music industry and the entertainment industry since we were children. We've all wanted to be Michael Jackson. We all wanted to be Whitney Houston. We all wanted to be So Solid. And who are they coming from? Record labels. So now a narrative is already built up in your head. So that's coming. If you're lucky like me, you understand that there are other ways to make money. But if you're not lucky like me and you don't understand there's other ways to make money, but you happen to stumble on a hit and a major comes to you and says, here's £500,000. I'm sorry, but most people would sign their life away. £500,000, just there, here you go. You can have this right now. Just sign this. £500,000 from making 25k a month or from being a year or being extorted by some gangster because you haven't paid him back from the re-up. Like, and you're just like, right, if I get I can give my man 50. I'm good. People don't, the major record labels have enough money to bypass your initial uncomfortable feelings about the record deal. Yeah, they're taking 85%, but they're giving me £500,000. You don't realize how powerful that is. To an 18-year-old, you're going to give an 18-year-old 300 bags.
So, okay, they give you £500,000.
Mm-hmm.
What's the downside? I can see the upside. You get £500,000. All right, after tax, it's not going to be £500,000, but you're getting £500,000.
If you sign a record label for £500,000, that is not £500,000 they're giving you. What they are giving you is partly a recording budget. So let's just say 600, just for the sake of me working out the maths quickly. Yeah. So let's say they give you 600k. You're going to take 100k out of that and you're going to record the album with that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah? So you've got 500 left for yourself. Yeah. That 500,000, if you're me and you don't have a manager, you keep all that 500,000. Mm-hmm. Again, just for the sake of thing. That 500, if you get 500,000, you're probably going to get a 5-album deal, which means you're probably going to be with the label for 8 to 10 years.
Woo!
That 500,000 is 50k a year for 10 years. That's really how much you got paid.
Wow. But then do you not get more money each time you do the album?
Yeah, but you may not. And depending on the label that you're with, because every label has a different personality. Mm-hmm. Some labels will they'll stay true to the contract. They'll put out the records. They'll pay. They might even negotiate and be like, look, the last album didn't do well, but we'll do the second album. We need to give you a little bit less money, but they'll fulfill the contract. Or you might be with a label that is not so ethical with their business and they'll come up with excuses as to why you can't release the album because they're making so much money from you, from the singles and stuff like that. And in the recouping, I actually cannot, I understand the recouping, but I also understand there's no simple way of explaining it because it's so messed up. But the way it works is it doesn't work for us. We don't get paid until they get paid and we have to pay back the money they've paid us through our percentage. Then we get paid.
You get paid a percentage of, so let's say, for argument's sake, 20%, mm-hmm. right? But that 20% isn't actually a 20%.
No. So for math's sake, you give me 200 grand. Mm-hmm. I need to pay back that 200 grand to you.
Yeah.
I would need to make the label £1 million
mm-hmm.
before I break even on that 200. And then after that, then I get money.
Yeah.
So the label's made up until that point, like £800,000.
Yeah.
And I've made nothing. They've made 800,000 and I've paid back my 200.
Yeah.
That's correct, right? Okay.
Pretty much.
No, I know it's correct, but is it said well?
It's said.
Okay, cool. No, because I've tried to explain it and people are like, but when I explain it to business people in other sectors, they understand exactly what I'm saying. And the first thing they say is, why do you accept that? We would never tolerate that in our sector.
Well, this is the thing, I think, and this is why it's hard to get investment in the UK music industry because, well, in the music industry, I should say. It's hard to get investment in the music industry because it's a difficult business to understand, and it's a difficult business to understand why the business structure is set up the way it is, because it's not traditional business structure.
Can I be blunt? It's not difficult to get money from music business. This is how things should be done. If you want to do business in the music industry, don't ask anyone in the music industry for business advice. Unless it's you and Yao.
And for those listening, Yao is an amazing guy who works out of Liverpool and is very connected. He's a connector within the UK
and
music
Natalie
scene.
as well. There's loads of you guys, but on your side of the music industry, you lot are cool. If you want to learn business, you're going to have to study business from the tech industry, from the food industry, from whatever industries that's there. You're going to have to learn business there. The reason I say that is because they've got unions and other things in place that protect them with certain things. So yes, people get bumped and stuff like that in those industries, but you're slightly more protected. Even the musical industry, you know, like everything in Piccadilly and Broadway and all that, even they do more ethical business than the music industry does.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So the first thing I would say is to make it simple, run your business for 12 months, collect the accounts for 12 months, find out how much money you spent every month, find out what goes in, find out what goes out, have a profit and loss sheet, send that to a hedge fund. They will understand that. They will come back, ask you questions, and you will negotiate what actually makes sense. They will take a percentage. So for instance, I met a girl that did an AI that will scan your face. This is 4 years ago. This is before COVID. She'll scan your face and it will tell you all the products that will help black eyes or blemishes or whatnot. Yeah. The business is already running for 2-3 years. She went to a hedge fund. They gave her 300 grand and they took 7% of the business and they made back their 300K through the 7%.
Mm-hmm. Whereas with a record company,
it's the other way around.
Yeah.
So one, like, it is very easy to make money. It's just we don't know how to organize the information to go to a hedge fund to say, hey, this is how it is. And it's very easy. Just like, we're all smart. Like, you know how to do maths. If I make £10 and I have to spend £5, I've made £5 profit. Then tell that to a hedge fund. I've made £5 profit. So they'll go, maybe we should invest £2. And you're like, that's not really going to help the business because I need another £10 to go buy this equipment to do X, Y, Z. Then they're going to say, okay, we can give you £10, but we want X amount of percent for X amount of years. And you can go, yeah, but the business projected to make da-da-da-da because I've been doing it for free. That's when the conversation, that's when the negotiations start. But we haven't been told that.
So more so real business conversations.
Yeah, real business conversations. But we haven't really been told that. We've been shown the fun side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we haven't been shown what people do behind the closed doors that are actually making moves and stuff like that. And then me, again, going back to my mum, finding someone, I had an inkling in me, I think during the rap period and as I was living in America, that this business can't run like this. It can't, because other industries wouldn't survive. Like, you can't be this unethical. No one would trust anyone. Do you know what I mean? And we wouldn't have an economy. It just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Something in me was like, this does not make sense. I'm asking someone, what's marketing? It's complicated to answer. No, it's not. You make a product. You promote that product to someone. You maintain their attention. You put a price on it and you sell it. That's marketing. But no one in the music no, it's too tell. Get out of here, man. So, sorry, I'm annoyed by that's sort of information I'm annoyed by. So, where was I going with it? So, if you want to learn business, you have to go to another sector. And something in me was going, this isn't right. So then I went searching. I was like, I don't know. I know that this doesn't feel right. But then you know what it was as well? I don't run my business like how the music industry runs it. I run my business based on how my mum runs hers. I run my business based on what I see from Car Phone Warehouse paying people and da-da-da-da-da and re-te-te. So I'm like, the music industry does not run how the Donae'O business runs. And I'm doing really well. Everyone's eating. We're all good. I'm not messing people over.
How does your business run?
Normal. If I've got an agent, you take a certain percentage. It's cool. If I get a manager, we agree a certain percentage. Everything I get, money has to go through me first to the business.
Yeah.
Then I pay out.
Yeah.
Simple as that. If I want to hire someone for a job, I get my accountants to do the numbers and we figure out together, is this affordable or not? not really. And I would do all that sort of stuff by myself because it wasn't like a massive business. It was a small business kind of thing. So, going back to that, because I had a business that ran differently to this that I was doing well, I was like, this clearly isn't right. But I've got no other examples because I'm not doing it right either, but I'm not wronging people to do it. I'm just very unorganized.
Yeah.
But organized enough to maintain a business.
Yeah.
So then going back to, I don't know, let me go and search. Then I found the Business Black UK seminar, and I found I started hanging out with people that were entrepreneurs within other sectors and having conversations with them. Little things like, say, for instance, I ended up getting business mentors. Who do you hire first? Everyone, guess who you hire first?
Who do you hire first?
No. I want you, because I want to see if you, so what would you say your job is?
I call myself a /executive.
Executive for?
A /executive. So I cover many different
Okay,
roles.
so as a manager, who's a manager / executive, who's the first person you hire?
A lawyer and an accountant.
You know what my mentors told me? You hired another version of you.
Interesting.
The graphic designer said, I hired another graphic designer. The tech person said, I hired another tech person. They all said the same thing. The content creator said, I hired another content creator.
And what was the idea behind that?
They were like, you got to build the business before you get someone to manage the business. Mm-hmm. It's like, you kind of got to have there's got to be money coming in before you get a lawyer to work for you. They're not negotiating anything if there's no business coming in.
It depends what you're doing.
It kind of depends.
I get the concept.
But do you get the concept?
I get the concept.
I'm not saying this is like law, but I'm just saying it's a different way of thinking. It's like, I would have gone, oh, okay. And they're all saying the same thing. And they're all multi-millionaires. And it's like, or something like, one of my guys, we sat down and I told them how you pay people and whatnot. And he was like, look, if you find someone who's good at their job, find out how much they want and pay them more. Do you know what I mean? Like people will do their best for you if they feel valued. You're not taught that in the music industry. You're taught to wheel and deal and squingle and wingle.
Absolutely.
So through my journey of that, by the time I came to you guys, now my business mind has been reset.
It's interesting because one of the reasons we set up this podcast was because of a lot of misinformation that I was seeing online around the music industry and media industry and tech and sports, where people make comments about, the way that people are getting paid and the way that money comes in and the flow of capital within the industry. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to set the record straight through conversations about people's journeys, but also their business setups, because it's not always sexy to talk about the business, but it should be.
No, it shouldn't.
It should be.
No, it shouldn't.
No, it should be.
I don't agree, but go on. You tell me why. It should be
because the good business is as creative and can be as creative as making a record. Because when you're looking at the art of the deal, there's so many ways to do a deal. There's so many ways to market. There's so many ways to do different things when it comes to the business, that can be equally as exciting as making a record in the studio, depending on your character, obviously, right? And I thought it was important that people got to the crux of different types of structures available, different flows of capital, different ways that you can set yourselves up. So, for example, we've had people on this podcast who've set up their business a certain way, have the rights held a certain way, and that allows them to do business a certain way. You set it up a different way. Major labels set it up another way. And I find it interesting that we're in an age now, because of distributors, access to distribution, the democratization of streaming, that we're able to now look at the business and the way that we do business and go, actually, that doesn't work for me. What works for me is to do it this way.
Going on your point as well, it's like, what I may not enjoy that I'm good at, someone else might enjoy as well that they're good at.
Yeah.
The reason I say you don't, because I agree, everything you just said, I do agree with that. What I find is sometimes we forget to get to the good bit, there's some whack bits you got to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like, say for instance, like negotiating. Some people love being aggressive, and if you want to get to point A to point B, you can't be manipulated to be aggressive with them. You'll just mess up the deal. Do you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's not a fun scenario, but you have to do that to get from point A to point B. It's like, this is a good metaphor. Do you like having nice smelling breath? Do you want your breath to smell nice?
Of course.
Is brushing your teeth sexy? No. But you have to do it though, isn't it? If you want to have nice smelling breath, you have to brush your teeth. Brushing your teeth isn't sexy. You get all the thing around your mouth. Let's be honest, like the toothpaste spills out, you got to spit it out. It's long, it's not sexy, but the end result is you have nice smelling breath. Do you understand? So it's like, I think what would make more sense to normalize is, yes, there's good bits. There's not necessarily bad bits, but there are bits that need to be done that aren't sexy that you can't avoid.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? And if you don't enjoy it, you might have to do it for a little while and then hire someone who does enjoy it. Because I know people, that love admin.
Yeah.
Bro, love looking at invoices and chasing money. And you're like, this is whack. But to them, it's not. So because I was saying it in the panel the other day, it's like we're too much like, oh, let's make it fun for everyone. No, like when we lived in Ghana, it wasn't fun. Like to adjust and all that wasn't fun, but to adjust, it's not fun. Like, say for instance, you go to the gym. This is another good example. If you haven't been to a gym in a long while, that first week, the next week is you're in pain all over because your body is not used to the strain. But if you carry on going, the pain gets less and less and less. You can't avoid the painful bits, is what I'm trying to say. Even God couldn't avoid it. He said, in the beginning, I created the heaven and then earth. And then when I looked at the earth, it was void. And if you look at the meaning of some of the words, it basically says that the earth was not formed properly. And when God looked over it, he was vexed because it wasn't formed how he wanted it.
Yeah. Now,
obviously, it's God. If he wanted it formed in his way, he would do it how he wants it. But that's not what the Bible's trying to say to you. The Bible is a guide, an idiot's guide how to live life. And basically what that's saying is once you make a decision, the first thing you step into is disruption. I want to go to the gym. Hey, I'm going to the gym. I'm pumping weight. Yeah, everyone look at me. Next day, oh, this hurts. Disruption. You can't avoid it. Yeah. Every time you make a great decision to do something, clock it from now on, yeah? Whenever you've got like a great idea, I'm going to do this. Notice, I guarantee almost instantly, the problem kicks in. And then you got to, one by one,
solve the problem.
Solve the problem.
This podcast was one of them.
Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like, you can't avoid it. And I think because we don't normalize, you're going to get punched in the face, you know? Nobody wants to learn to block. They just get punched. Okay, I don't want to do this.
What's it Mike Tyson says? Everyone's got a plan till they get
punched in the face. And what we don't tell everyone is you're going to get punched in the face. There's no plan that you're gonna have that when you've made the idea, you've stuck to your intention and said, I'm gonna do this plan. I'm telling you, the first 2 steps, the big problem will come.
Speaking of problems and overcoming them, PowerUp. You've spoken about Yao quite a few times. Yao is PowerUp coordinator. So he runs PowerUp on day-to-day. For those that don't know, that are tuned in, PowerUp is an initiative that I created along with Joe Franklin at PRS Foundation to
man like Joe
to support Black talent, Black executive talent and creative talent that feels like it's hitting glass ceiling. And we support through capacity building, through bursaries, through a range of different activities to help the cohorts to grow, evolve, and move on to the next level, and ultimately break through the glass ceiling that often exists for Black talent within the UK music industry. With the success that you'd had, what made you decide to apply to become part of an initiative like PowerUp, and what did you hope to gain from being part of it?
What made me do it, and then what did I hope to gain?
Yeah. I think
after Ireland, I appreciated my independence more. That was my journey to accepting the businessman side. That was the journey to accepting the punch in the face.
Yeah.
Because the business side of my talents is a constant punch in the face. Dealing with VAT returns. Speaking to your accountant who loves his job so much that he's explaining stuff to you, you don't understand it. I'm like, bruv, just explain it. But then they love it, and you they can't skip over this bit of the story. So if I get my ego out of the explanation, as much as I hate talking to my accountants, I love talking to them. They're beautiful people. I always feel stupid afterwards and they've got patience, so they'll explain something to me 3-4 times, but I can't win unless I understand. Like stuff like that, little things like that you don't like, and then now you're frustrated at yourself. If you don't know yourself well, you'll take that out on someone rather than, oh, bruv, do you know what? I didn't understand. And it's embarrassing to ask a man, can you explain again? And they'll laugh because to them, they're like, our job is to be accountants. Our job is to explain this to you as the business owner because we need you to make money to pay us. We explain this to all types of people 3, 4, 5 times to a point where they made me come in once a year, and the boss and think they would sit me down, all of that stuff. It's a punch in the face, bruv. A punch in the face to your ego, a punch in the face to your insecurities. That's what being a businessman comes with if you're going to take on that, because you're dealing with very intelligent people. The government are very intelligent. The people that run the tax are very intelligent. Your accountants are very intelligent. You yourself are very intelligent in different ways. Like, you're dealing with a lot of great minds, and balancing and all that is quite painful within itself, kind of thing. So after Ireland, I was just like, do you know what? You always do better when you do your own business. You need to explore the businessman. You know, the musician is cool. I can stop making music for 2 years. I'll make a tune. I'll make a banger, bruv. It's like, I just know I'm very good at what I do. The businessman now, I'm very good at being a businessman, but I don't have that level of confidence. I'm not that sure. Making music is like putting my left foot in front of my right foot.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. With a businessman now, I might trip because I'm not sure that the left foot's and I don't know if I can balance properly, and like, I'm doing it well, but I'm nervous the whole time. Like, do you know what I mean? So I just thought that needs to be fixed if I'm going to go into the new era of my life, kind of thing. What kicked off that was the Ireland thing. Then I found the friend who spoke to me about the business that got the grant in COVID. Then I saw the Funk Butcher thing, and then I read PowerUp, and I was like, whoa. That's how I knew it was God, because when I read it, you basically wrote to me. That was me. This was made for me. I actually thought, there's no way they're not going to give me money.
Yeah.
I didn't think you'd give it to me because I'm Donae'O. I thought this plan is for the older generation that have gotten to a certain space and they can't get further because they're struggling with the financial side of their business. I was like, that's me. I just left Ireland. I was brass. And I had this big dream of helping people. Now I understand my skill in helping people. I've got a very, very, very strong skill in that kind of thing. And it works with the business thing kind of thing. So I applied for PowerUp. And again, I wrote out the business plan. Again, the punch in the face as I'm writing out the application. I don't think I write well. I know I can explain myself well.
Yeah.
But you cannot write a sentence how you speak. It doesn't read the same as you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I understand that. So because I understand that, I know what I'm writing is incorrect. Like, I'm not putting the full stop in the right place. I'm not. But I understood that my missus, who does writing all the time, because she's a marketing account, does this all the time. She talks to me every day. If she reads it, she'll understand what I'm saying and she'll know the right questions to ask me. Yeah. So once I've written out the plan, she rewrote that. And on that journey, that's when I learned, I didn't know that you can get a bid writer for that. I just asked the smartest person in the room.
Yeah, that
I knew to do that. Did the application. I should have got more money, but I messed up with the financial bit of the application. And I think it confused everyone. They were like, just give him half. Because when I asked you guys, you was like, yeah, that bit didn't make sense. Because I've seen everyone else's. My one was atrocious. I think the rest of it was so good. But that bit there was just like, that was like, I am not smart enough to do this bit. It's not like I'm dumb, but it's just...
Not your skill set.
It's not my thing, innit?
Yeah.
Like, creative writing is my thing. And finding and delegating, even though I give myself a bad credit, I'm actually quite good at delegating, I've realised. And then that was the beginning of my journey. And then in regards to PowerUp, my intent was... Do you know what it was? I remember I saw Yao having an interview and he was saying to the interviewer, so black music in the UK... But the way he was saying it was like, stop calling it urban. I've never heard a black person. I've always heard people go, yeah, but urban. No, it's black music, bruv. Even other cultures call it black music. But we, because of the industry, and we've been indoctrinated, or whatever word is used for that, we feel uncomfortable to say it. Yeah, I was the first person I heard say it loud, and he said it loudly.
Yeah, I was very adamant about the term black music.
Yeah, like
and
it was just like,
racism.
I was just like, oh, these are my people. I can be myself here. Like I can. It's not like I don't say things, but it's not nice to speak your mind and then be shunned. Because I would always speak my mind, but you get shunned.
Same.
But it's like, and I've got ADHD, so it's like it's hard now. Like the toothbrush analogy I just gave you, you don't want to know what I was gonna actually say. Like I've learned to. I got an idea in my head that I wanted to give you a metaphor. And I was like, this is not appropriate to say. Say this. Like, but back then, I would just...
Say it.
Yeah. And I don't mean inappropriate, like wrong, but like little things like, I never understood institutional racism. I never understood that me raising my voice a little bit to someone who's not comfortable with a person like me is threatening. I'm looking at it like we're having an argument and we're having a disagreement and we'll work it out. I'm not thinking you're wetting your pants and you're taking this way out of context.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand that. Do you understand what I'm saying? What I wanted from so when I saw that interview with Yao, I automatically knew I could grow in PowerUp. I didn't know how, but I yielded to PowerUp. I was just like, I know I'm supposed to give myself to this thing. I didn't even care about the money, if I'm honest. Like, I'm happy I got the money. I'm definitely, because it helped. But that was not it. After I saw that interview and I read it and the whole journey to it, I was like, okay, cool, God, I hear you. Cool. Whatever it is, boom. Gave him my application. I think one of you called me and he was like, are you sure you want this? Like, and I was like, yeah. And then over time, you guys saw that I was serious. I saw that you guys were serious. And then I realized, like, let me just be in service. Always be in service. Like I'm not putting myself in a situation where I'm not going to let no one take the piss out of me kind of thing. I'm a grown man, so I can be in service vulnerably. And if I feel uncomfortable now as a grown man with ADHD, I can go, do you know what? PowerUp ain't respecting me. Let me just say, guys, I can't turn up today, rather than, who do you think you are? Like, I could just say, maybe, do you know what I mean? Like, I can handle myself way better. So now I feel way more comfortable giving, because I know that I can set a boundary without upsetting people, which is very important to me, because I don't care how aggressive you want to be. I don't want to upset no one. Like, even if you're being rude, I don't want to succumb to you, what you're doing to me.
Yeah.
I can put you in your place without embarrassing you in front of people, and with you understanding, don't talk to me like that again. And even you're probably going to feel like a fool afterwards, like, right, I didn't need to, and he kind of killed me with kindness, but you know what I mean? Like, I made it a thing. So again, I yielded to PowerUp, and then after the money came, that was like, now this is a partnership. I always saw it as a partnership, but I didn't understand what that meant. I just knew that this has been like that whole process I'm explaining was quite smooth. Conversation with my friend, conversation with Front Butcher. Even me and Front Butcher had an argument, and I had to come off the phone. I spoke to my missus and she was like, you're not understanding where he's coming from. She explained to me. I called him back and apologized, made him explain to me where he was coming from again, and then I got it. Even that, like I need to apologize to this guy, because we're fighting the same fight, just on two separate sides of the coin. And maybe when our egos are getting in the way, let me take my ego away. The fact that I just got rid of it. And I had a long convo with my missus. I explained to her, and she was like, so I was like, this is a very smooth scenario. It was like, that argument wasn't even a day. It was like, I called him back within an hour. Like, I'm really sorry. Did you mean this? And he was like, yeah, D. And then it opened up another conversation, and then I got the money. So the whole thing was actually quite smooth. So I was like, yeah, I'm supposed to be here because this was easy. Like, and then I've called you up. I've said to you, I'm willing to do whatever you guys need me to do. I've called up Yao. You guys have helped me out in the long term. I've gotten other grants. I've called you up and gone, thank you for this. Both you and Yao have gone. It's almost like you're like, why are you thanking us? And I was like, why not? Like and you're like, people don't do that. And then now I'm starting to see, oh, okay, like these guys have spent all this time creating this thing that supports black people, and we don't understand how important it is. And I am a face in our community. Maybe that's part of why I need to be here for you guys. It's like, they don't understand. It's like, PowerUp is not the end. It's the beginning of the journey.
Absolutely.
And then these guys, like you couldn't have started PowerUp if you did not have a banging reputation and a banging work ethic, and you wasn't intelligent enough to start a program like that. Now I've gone through it. So that means, you know, other people that could help me and do that stuff. Like, it's bigger than that. And then the intention was yield to PowerUp and just do your best without allowing people to take the piss out of you. You guys respected me. Like, there was a couple of conversations I started seeing, like, you guys have got a lot of patience as well. I started seeing what type of people you were. I was like, this is a wicked work environment. And it's a very honest work environment. If I've done something people were uncomfortable with, I'd at least be told. And it's not like, because we all make mistakes. We all do things and I now I don't feel like I'm inadequate. I don't feel like my neurodivergence is an issue. I feel like, because there's been times I've said to you guys, I think you could have done that better. But it's like the forum is open, or like the forum is open for conversation, because we are all able adults that want the same thing and are able to give each other the same thing. Yeah. So everyone's kind of, and with the music industry as well, I feel like we are in a space where we're free to make our own decisions. No one's pressuring us to make money for them. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people don't realize that about major record labels. Everyone wants to diss major record labels. The A&Rs are getting taken the piss out of too. The A&Rs, a man signed one of the biggest artists in the world. Yeah, I won't name who the artist is. This guy has signed 2 free artists to this label. The next year, he didn't sign a big artist. He got fired. Biggest artist in the world, he signed.
Yeah.
A&R, all their projects. The next artist he signed, the label said, yeah, get out of here.
Yeah.
That's the pressure that those guys are on. That's why they're so aggressive. Because we don't realize their job is on the line. They don't get the free warnings that you get when you work a 9 to 5. Whereas with you lot, all of the, like, you did PowerUp because you wanted to. You deal with the headache of PowerUp because you want to.
To a degree.
No.
I don't want to deal with the headache.
No, you don't want to deal with the headache. No. All right, how can I say this? You don't want to deal with the headache.
I'm being facetious. Don't worry.
Okay, cool.
I knew exactly what you meant.
Okay, yeah, but it's like you've made the decision to find an environment you want to work in, not an environment you have to work in.
Yeah.
Even that alone is like, you guys will understand me. You will understand the way I think. You will understand why I'm calling you to say thank you. You will understand all that because we are the same. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then I started realizing, okay, cool. And then we had the call, and then you introduced me to youth music, and then that helped me find other people that mentored me and stuff like that, and helped with some of the things like I found a bid writer. So now I don't beat myself up when I'm writing business plans. I'll just write it. I'll give it to my bid writer. Me and my bid writer. And again, my bid writer, she's really cool. She knows you have to kind of there needs to be a level of familiarity with me when it comes to some business, a level of, but I also need you, if I'm going to give you that, respect it as well. Like, don't go overboard. There's certain jokes you can't crack with me. It's just that we need to get from point A to B, and I can't explain it stiff. And then I also understand that I also, there's a boundary here, but we need to open the gate a little bit, just a little bit. Found someone that I found comfortable with. Now I can write out my stuff. I'll send it to her. She comes back to me with all the questions. Zoom, zoom, zoom. We have conversations here and there. We crack jokes. Da, 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 da. Boom. Now I've got a team that helps me write business plans. So the intention of PowerUp was always like, I need to be here. And then as I got to know you guys, the reasoning for being here became more apparent the more I was in it. More clear. Yeah. But again, like with God, it was like, from speaking to my friend to getting the grant was smooth. That was God's way of saying, I need you to be here. Yeah. But,
so around the same time as PowerUp,
yeah,
you discovered you're neurodiverse. You've touched on that throughout.
No, I discovered it I knew I was different from young. I discovered it when I was like 18.
So when were you actually diagnosed?
I went to the doctors. I explained to him, and this is when ADHD was coming through. And we did a few tests, and he was like, "Yep." But he was my doctor. He was laughing. He was just like, "I've known you've had it for years. So even when you was in primary school, I knew you had it," kind of thing. Like some teachers would there was a few good teachers that explained to my mum. It was always the same story. Your son's brain works differently. You cannot expect him to do things the same way everyone else does. Mm-hmm. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's almost like God was like, I'm going to give you your dad, because then you're not going to survive this without structure, but you can't live your life like your father. You have to live your life like your mother. There needs to be some level of freedom. And you need to be responsible. If you're going to get that freedom, you need to be responsible with it. So, yeah, I've known since from 18. And then I've just had years and years and years to deal with it. It's affected people in positive ways, negative ways. And then now I'm a superhero now.
It's your superpower.
No, I've got loads of superpower. Even if I didn't have the neurodivergent, I'd be a superhero. Like, you're a superhero. You're a superhero to me anyway. Don't start crying, bro.
Why, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So how has that diagnosis helped you navigate your way through business and through music in general?
I've always holding yourself accountable is a big thing for me in any relationship, friendship, romantic relationship, business relationship. Once I understood it, it was like, I can't just say, this person's being, I've always got to think twice. Like, did I do something wrong here? Was that argument because of me? Did I understand where I went wrong? Did I da? So because now I'm very self-aware. So that diagnosis gave me another level of self-awareness. Yeah. And I've always, if I get into an altercation, sometimes I have to think twice. Did I read that wrong? Was I giving off an aggressive energy? Because again, like growing up in the hood and having ADHD and having a draconian dad, like, you got to survive kind of thing. So there's also that comes with the scenario. So coming from the hood and having ADHD and an antisocial disorder, all mixed up together in some way or form, I've always got to think twice. Even now, like I said, with the toothbrush thing, is like, but it's normal to me now. I speak to myself and then I'll speak.
So what advice would you give to someone in the business that's just discovered they've got ADHD or an antisocial disorder or some form of neurodiversity? What advice would you give them as coping mechanisms to be able to be the best version of themselves within this industry?
I think the first thing you got to do is just accept you are who you are. Like, once you can accept you are who you are, you know your good bits, you know your bad bits, you got to have really good character judgment so you can figure out the people that, because nobody owes you anything. There are people in this world, like when I tell people I've got ADHD, they're like, no, you don't. No, I do. You just have the patience for me. You was meant to be in my tribe. You was built for someone like me. So I'm not an issue for you. But I also have to be aware of the people I am. I might check for someone a lot, but you just ain't got the patience. And I've just got to be like, you know what? Because when you don't like someone, it's easy to cut someone off. But when you do, I can't hold negative feelings towards you, because it's like, I understand. It's like, I'm a lot like for you, not you, but I'm saying I'm a lot for that person. And it's like, I just got they're going to naturally distance themselves anyway. Just don't hold any grudges. So I definitely think, not love yourself, but just understand that that's who you are. It's not going to change. Like, I still do like, forgetfulness sometimes is an ADHD trait. I'll tell you what I did this week. My girl's got a book in the library. I've decided that when I drive home from training, I'm not going to drive home and then walk to the library and then walk back. I'm going to drive my car and park it outside the library, get the library book, go to the car, come back. I go and get the library book, walk all the way home, realize the car's back at the library, walk back to the car, go to the newsagents to get a bottle of water, walk back home, and then go, and then walk back to the car and then drive home.
You forgot the car twice.
Twice, bruv. And then I just got to accept that that's strippiness like that will happen with me.
Yeah.
Every once in a while. I can't beat myself up about it. It's just, and then like, again, like talking about it, like people, it's funny. Like at the end of the day, like if it makes someone laugh, cool. And even little tests like that, like, are you laughing at me or are you laughing with me?
Yeah.
Because if you're laughing at me, I don't have to talk to you again. I'm okay with that. But if you're laughing with me, then I can tell you these stories, because you're not going to go, yeah, Donae'O forgot da-da-da-da-da. So when I put him in charge of these people, he's not going to, because you know what I'm like. So it's like character judgment is really important.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Because my neurodivergent, the ADHD and the antisocial does not dictate who I am. It's just how my body works.
And how important is it for you to be open about it as well? Because I remember, we had a meeting, and in the meeting you were very open to everybody in the room. You're like, look, I've got ADHD. We're going to be in this room for 5 hours. I might zone out at various points, or I might go off on a tangent. And I just thought, that's brave.
I don't think it's brave. I'm in my head, right?
The reason I thought it was brave was because you're in a room you knew 3 people in the room, right? The other 5 people you didn't know.
Yeah.
And you just stripped yourself bare and said, this is who I am and this is what might happen.
But that's who I've always been. I've always just been quite open like that. I've not known how to manage it, but now I find out like even that, like being open like that, like if I sit in a room and I'm like, right, I don't know people, I'm actually here for a reason, because as much as I'm saying that to you, I also know I marked 40 papers 2 days beforehand and was going to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I know so I know I'm here for a reason. If you lot are pissed off by me, cool, we don't have to see each other after today, but I'm just warning you just in case we don't get along. But I know, and I ended up marking most of the papers more than everyone else did.
Yeah.
Was that the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that as well, but I've always been quite open, and then over the years I've learned kind of, there's sometimes when because I noticed, I was like, look, because we was there for 8 hours, and I was just like, now I've told everyone, I can see everyone's faces. It might be a thing where I might leave the room for like 30 minutes. Everyone calms down and I can come back. But it ended up working for me, because everyone was like, wow, that was fun. And again, like, because I was in the environment, that's why I would say to you, with those things, I'm happy to come to, because I know that that thing I've got benefits the day. Everyone's like, it goes quicker kind of thing. Like little things, like I'm quite playful. Like I'm quite I add fun into it. And as much as I've got ADHD, I'm not too much with it. If I'm around the right people, I'll know when to fall back, when to jump in, But again, character judgment. I feel like that's a big thing. It's like knowing who your people are.
Yeah.
Because if you know who your people are, what you have is actually quite, it can benefit them. And my way of serving you lot, like I remember me and the guy from Scotland,
yes,
we were talking about an artist, and I said, come man, let's clash, bruv. Everyone understood what I was doing. Because this was getting to the end, we were all tired. The way you lot started laughing, like because you wasn't expecting it. Because I see everyone was like this, and I was like, "Bruv, are you mad?" That's what I said. I couldn't. I didn't want to talk properly. I was like, because I was like, my artist is the guy. We are going to clash. Come, 4 tunes for 4 tunes, bruv. The way you lot was on the floor, everyone started laughing, like, and then I know, all right, cool.
You brought an energy.
Don't take it too far. Don't clash the guy. Because obviously I did want to clash. Do you get what I'm saying? But it was like, the reaction was so thing. I was like, oh, you've served. They've laughed. I've given them a little bit more energy. Don't go further.
Yeah.
If you notice, I was quiet afterwards. Because I was like, bro, shut up. You've given them what they needed. Relax. Like, boom, the guy laughed. It was good. Everyone had fun kind of thing. So it's like self-awareness. And you can only get self-awareness if you accept who you are. Character, you have to have great character judgment. You have to. That's a non-negotiable. And get help. Get therapy. And get a person. If you've got ADHD, you have to do something sporty 3 times a week. And do it early in the morning. Get it out of your system. Because it will help focus your mind. Like that's a non-negotiable. If I'd have known that, I wouldn't have been so hyperactive. Sorry. I wouldn't have been so hyperactive my whole life. Because I wasn't into sport when I was younger.
Yeah.
So the energy was just bouncing off the walls, bro.
Okay.
Like ridiculous. But now, like even like today, like I'm very exhausted. Like I've told my PT, these are my goals. My PT takes my health very seriously. Mm-hmm. He works me to exhaustion. Like literally, like yesterday I wanted to cry.
Yeah. But
then the feelings I got afterwards, like I've never felt that. You know when you work out, yeah. I don't know what this is. This is just a sidetrack here. But you know when you work out, like right to the end. I only experienced this yesterday because I've always worked, but we pushed past. Like I almost fainted. Like then when
they call that training to blackout. But yeah.
So I trained to blackout, right? And then I sat down. I walked around the gym 4 times just to get over the pack because I was actually scared. Like my brain was shouting at me like, what have you done? Then I sat down and all this positive energy just came. I was just staring at the wall like,
all the endorphins.
Yeah. I could have hugged the wall like, oh my gosh, I love you. Like I was there for 20 minutes just like, what the hell is this? Is that a thing?
Yeah, you get rid of all the stress, all the cortisol that's in the body. So you've worked out all the cortisol, which is all the stress chemicals in the body that dissipates, and then you fill up your body with endorphins, which are positive chemicals, and you just feel
I'm on that
good.
Every week now, bruv. Every week, bruv. It was like a buzz, bruv. I was thinking to myself, rah! It actually, the last 2 days, I've been arguing with myself. I'm like, bruv, you have to train like that all the time now. And I was like, yeah, but bruv, you almost died. And I was like, no, you did not, bruv. Like, this is me and my body talking to each other. Like, I'm like, no, you did not, bruv. Like, you did not die. Shut up, man. Like, but again, with the ADHD, finding out that blackout thing, it focuses you. Like, and the harder you train, the more it does focus your brain, kind of thing. You get a lot of the energy out and stuff like that. That has to be regular. You definitely need therapy. Every therapist is different. You need someone who's patient, kind, who's willing to hear you out, you know, willing to talk you through certain things. I got a speech therapist as well. Okay. But I didn't do that for ADHD. I wanted to start doing TED Talks, and I realized through PowerUp, I'm getting a lot more talking gigs. Yeah. And I can talk to you outside of PowerUp, and you, Ben, will understand what I'm trying to say. But when we talk in public, I can't talk like that. Yeah. I have to speak in a certain way. So that indirectly also helped. I had to write a script, and me and this woman wrote out a script, and I learned it, and we understood why. And then when I would go to meetings, like before I would come to you guys, I'd have a meeting with her, and I'd say, she'd go, how would the meeting go? I will explain to her how the meetings would go, and we would practice going back and forth and stuff like that. So that's more of a business. That was more like, as I'm becoming a business person, I'm doing a lot more public speaking, and I need to be clear of what I'm saying, because I don't want you to misconstrue what I'm saying, because what I'm saying could actually benefit you. And me going, yo, but at the end of the day, yo, fam, like, if you do this thing here, that's gonna work. You'll get that because you understand the context of the conversation. That's what people don't realize. Slang is the short way to get to the point. But you can't speak the short way to get to the point without context. Yeah. If I say that ting did this, I already explained to you 5 minutes ago that ting is a car. So you get the context. That's that. Even being able to explain that to people. This is why you should speak properly, because you don't understand that we have to explain. We're trying to get a point across. So using slang and all that you're not just using slang. There's a context around it why this makes sense. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I would say know yourself, learn other people, definitely work out. This is for ADHD alone, yeah? Definitely get a therapist. The speech thing you don't have to do, but there. If you've got an antisocial disorder, 1000% get a therapist. Get a specific one. Get a book called How to Make Friends and Influence People. Do you know what I mean? Because if you've got an antisocial disorder, it just means that you didn't socialize enough as a kid to understand that you don't interrupt someone when they're talking, or to understand banter, or it kind of. I've got quite a literal way of thinking, and I don't think that's natural. I think that came from being isolated from nursery to when I was 17 years old. So I didn't learn that boys interact with. It's funny, right? I did not learn that boys interact with each other by running banter.
Yeah.
But I'm teaching that to my nephew. He's playing games. The boys are roughing him up in the bouncy castle. He's come to me, uncle, they're being rough. And I'm like, that's how boys make friends.
Yeah.
Go rough them up. Now he's gone back in, rough them up. He's like, uncle, this is my best friend. Like, so I know it's something I know I can change, but you definitely need a therapist that can help you with that stuff. And that book and a therapist will fix a lot of stuff on both sides.
And what's the book again?
How to Make Friends and Influence People.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dale Carnegie. All right.
I don't know the name. It's blue and it's red and in the writing's in yellow.
So, for producers, songwriters, you're someone that blends multiple genres. I mentioned it before that I hear so many different styles within your music. How do you stay inspired to be so creative? And what advice would you give to producers, songwriters out there that are trying to find their way and find their sound?
I stay inspired by being a fan first. I was saying this to my friend today. I make music because I enjoy making it. I'll make music if I weren't making money. I'll make music when I'm making loads of money and everyone's like, I love you, Donae'O. I'll make music when everyone's like, oh, you're a has-been, it's long. I'm a fan of music so much so that when I make a rhythm that I like, I'll thump it. I've got loads of songs that no one's ever going to hear.
Yeah.
And that all comes from being a fan of music. I like playing music. I like making music. It's playing music, innit? It's like I like listening to it all the time. I haven't lost... Because you hear a lot of people when they get into the music industry, they stop listening to music. That's alien to me. I'm listening to Katy Perry, Last Friday Night, and I'm there, boom, boom, and people are looking at me like, bruv. Then I'm listening to a Movado song, and I still enjoy music as a fan first.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's the first thing you asked? What inspires me?
What inspires you? Yeah.
Yeah. So what inspires me is music is not my profession first. It's my love first. Yeah. And then the businessman has turned it into a profession. Yeah. Kind of thing. So that's what inspires me. And then what was the second question? How do they get in?
How would you inspire someone that is a producer or a songwriter that's trying to find their way, find their sound?
I think it would be arrogant of me to tell someone how to do that. I think the best way I can explain it is how I do it.
Okay.
And simply, I enjoy culture first. I'll hear a sound, I'll listen to it loads, I'll start going raving to it, I'll make friends to it, I'll date women to it. It'll be on when I'm making food. I'll start finding artists within that sound that I like. All this is before making the music. I'll get to know the producers, I'll have friends that love the music as well, so we're arguing who their favourite producer is. Me and my brethren always argue about who's the best garage producer. I say them two, he says Chris Mack. We were arguing the other day about, do you know what I mean? So I'll find people that I can actually, it's a part of my, I'm a part of the fan bit.
Yeah.
If people are arguing about, oh, Donae'O, this tune's better, I'm having the same arguments with other artists. Then I experiment with the music to see if I can make it. Like say with house, I was good enough to make one big song, but it wasn't in my heart like that. If that makes sense. Whereas rap was, I made like 300 songs in that period. Then I'd start experimenting with the music. I'll send it to friends if they like it. Then I'll put it out to the world. If the world likes it, then I'll carry on doing it.
Okay.
I think that's the best way to explain it. But I think creativity boils down to what you like. Like I'm a massive fan of my own music. Before you've heard it, before you lot were wilding out to African Warrior, I was. When I was making that in my bedroom at 1 o'clock in the morning, my mom's banging the walls like, stop dancing and shouting. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like, do what you like doing first. Do you know what? I will say this. We all have a taste. If you like making country music, but you're trying to make Afro beats, why are you making Afro beats? I've got an artist, right? I asked him, what do you listen to? This guy's telling me Craig David and Mark Morrison. Why are we making Afro beats then?
Yeah.
Do you understand? It's like, you have a taste, start there. Start with the fan bit of you. And then work from there.
Which brings me nicely into the fact that you started to mentor young people in the music business.
Mm-hmm.
What led you to that? Why have you decided to go down this route? And how important is mentoring to you in your own journey?
Why have I done it? What led me to go down to it? And why is it important to me?
Yeah.
Why I did it, because God told me to do it. And it felt like the right thing to do. What's the second one?
What led you to it?
What led me to it? PowerUp led me to it. The whole journey with PowerUp made me realize, okay, this is my next run. This is my next step. I've always been good with helping people, but working with you guys kind of refined it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, because it's a very vulnerable gift to have. It's a gift that you're going to get taken advantage of if you don't look after it. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? I can protect my music. I can't, like, so the journey through PowerUp let me curate that. I was just like, cool, I'm clearly here to help others. And then I noticed all of my business plans, it actually doesn't say anything about me. Like the business plan I wrote for you guys was so I could find other artists and put music out through them. The only reason I produced it is because I was the only producer I had at the time, if that makes sense. So just going through the journey and just kind of being free enough to see where I fit is what led to that. And then what's the third one?
How important is mentoring to you?
It's extremely important at this stage of my life. I think we all have a purpose in life. And if you're lucky enough to find out what that purpose is, you need to yield to it. And I've been independently successful for 24 years. Even when I was at Ireland, I was like, that's no accident.
Yeah.
I've worked with pop acts that are like, you are an enigma. So after a while, once you get over your ego bit of it, like, okay, I've enjoyed the Donae'O thing. Now it's like, what the hell does this mean? Like why have I been given this gift and then given away to share this gift with people who want it? Because that's really all I'm doing is like, I've been lucky enough to find people that like my music, innit? It's not like everyone likes my music.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I have a direct link to the people who like my music. So much so that the people in PowerUp liked my music. And they were like, wow, we want Donae'O to get involved. Do you get what I'm saying? So I've been questioning, okay, so I've got this power of independence. I clearly can look after myself and look after others. It can't be for me. It wasn't made for me. It was made for others. And I like to help people. Like the amount of people I've helped in the industry before this, I've always been able to do it, but I've never, because God wants you to turn it into a business. He wants you to make money from it. He wants you to organize it, because if you don't organize it, you're not actually helping people. Mm-hmm. You're just giving them bits and bobs, but you're not giving them the tools that they actually need. And to do that, you need the businessman. You need that guy to organize all of it. Otherwise, it doesn't work. It's just a dream. And then a businessman without the creative, it's just, you're selling air.
Yeah.
Do you understand where I'm coming from? So the mentoring is extremely important to me now because, you know, this is like the third gift that I've got, and I've organized it by working with you guys and finding out and seeing how you guys do it, and then doing it in myself. And then, like I said, I'm 41 now, and the Donae'O thing is solid. I'll be Donae'O until I'm 99. People will be raving to my music until I'm 99 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm going to live to 150. Yeah. Now I have a very strong feeling that I need to use my platform to introduce the new wave of people coming through. And it's not just musicians, because the last grant I got was a business grant for a business, for a charity. I helped 2 interns that wanted to be professionals. They weren't trying to be musicians. And I got one a job at a booking agency, and I got another job at a PR radio plugin company as well. So, and it was very quick. That one was quick, Ben. The process was supposed to be 6 months. I trained them. We find what they want to do. I train them within that. We find them a job. That was supposed to be done in 6 months. We found them a job, both interns, in 4 weeks.
Wow.
Like, I didn't realize I even had the network, because it was like, yep, this was too easy, bruv. Not like it was easy, but it was too easy for me.
Yeah.
It was like, there was loads of other like, I've got someone running the company. I had an accountant. If it weren't for them, it would have been a mess. Like, I don't pay. They tell me, right, this is how much. They do the calculations. If I get an email from Small Green Shoots, because they're the ones that I hired the interns from, I'm not reading that email. My managing director is, and my managing director will be like, I need to ask you a question. I answer it. They figure it out. Them lot figure it out. Then they tell me, So it's very important for me, because I feel like there's a platform there that I have, and I need to use that platform to help others and actually help them. Because my the charity program is called Zephron First Steps. It's very specific. I'm not trying to get you into the music industry. There's so many other independent businesses within the music industry that are making loads of peas, bruv. Like, they're making good money, and maybe they've got sole traders disease. And I've been speaking to them, and I'm like, bruv, hire someone. And they're like, yeah, but. And I'm like, bro, I pay them twice a week. I'm going to give you one of my interns, the one you like, yeah, that you said impressed you. You don't even have to pay for them. They can work for you for 3 months. Really? Yes, bruv. Like, and then figure out if you want to do it. And then over time, I'll help you get over your sole trader's disease. Now he's hired the intern. They work 3 days a week.
There you go.
So, like, going back to what you guys have done, you've empowered me properly to actually empower others properly. You've allowed me to say what I'm going to do and do it. Whereas in the music industry, there's a lot of talk in it. Like, there's no, and everyone likes to overpromise and da. Where you guys didn't overpromise. You give what you can give, which is more than what a music industry board would give. And you've given me the skills to now do that with others. And it feels banging. Like to young people that like think I'm wavy and want to hear what I've got to say and actually listen to what I've got to say and then implement it, and then it works for them, and then we're always happy to see each other. Like, do you get what I'm saying? It's like, why would you not want that?
Yeah.
Like, that's the type of environment I want to work in. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of younger like influencers I'm speaking to now, and I've noticed through doing that, I've realized, you know what? There's a generation, they look at me as Uncle Donae'O.
Yeah.
We're not in competition. And as soon as I say, oh, do you want to learn to, I think you should DJ, you know? They're like, really? Yeah, I'll come teach you. What do you want out of it? Nothing. It doesn't cost me anything. Come and I'm not making a tune with you. Like, I think you should DJ. Come here for an hour. I'll teach you how to DJ. And you got to do the rest. You don't want nothing. No. I don't need nothing from you. If you want to give me something, then we can figure out where this relationship is going. But I have a need to teach you to DJ. So why don't you just come and DJ? And then I've got my niece or my nephew. I'm teaching them how to do stuff. They're gassed. Like, one of my artists, I taught them how to write bids. They got money from PRS. That money they used to pay a singing coach. Now my young artist is paying a grown man peas to do singing lessons. That singing coach takes my guy seriously, My guy takes me. Do you know what I mean? It's like we're actually,
Great.
you don't realize you're not supposed to help people for your ego. You're supposed to help someone so they can help someone else, so they can help someone else. Like, you're not, I don't know how to say this, yeah, but I'm not important by myself. I've got a role to play, and the role is important. And if I don't play the role, maybe you can't play your role. And then if you can't play your role, because there's been many times I've had conversations with people and they might be like, oh, this is long, you know. And I've called them and gone, do you know what just happened to me? And they've gone, right, do you know what? Maybe I should stick in a little bit longer.
The sum of all, it's the sum of all the parts coming together.
Yeah. And why I said I need to explain this, because I am important. I'm God's child like you are. But what we don't realize is we are part of a bigger picture. And it sounds cheesy, but it's like your gift is not important until you give it.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to
just keep it and hold it and hoard it.
Yeah. Like there's people I've only worked with, again, from point A to point B, but the things they've done after point B, the people that they've helped, it's kind of like, bruv, like your purpose is important. What you're doing is important. You are important in another way. Yeah. You're important to your children or your wife that wants to see you every day, or your parents or stuff like that. But there's a bigger picture here. And actually, you are important, because if you don't do your thing, everyone else can't do their thing. And then you can't find people to then help you do your thing. So yeah, we now found the words, you are important, and what you're doing is important, and it's bigger than you think it is.
Well, I think we're going to end it there. But before we end the podcast, we like to end with an understanding of what it is that allows you to be unstoppable. So today's question to you is, can you share a moment when everything was up in the air? Didn't know what was going on. Thought everything had gone to crap.
The moment when grime died and baseline died and I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, and then I decided to get a job. That moment, I realized I'm a G. I realized there's no problem I can't fix. But it took me years to get used to that. But the beginning of Funky was the journey of the man in me, the superhero in me. I don't look up to Darth Vader and Lex Luger. I look up to Luke Skywalker and Superman. Like, I like Superman. Superman's not like Batman. Superman wants to help everyone. He tries his best not to murk man. Like, I like Tony Stark after he was arrogant, kind of thing. Do you understand what I'm saying? That was my journey to being that person. That was my journey. Like, the power is within me, and I need to save myself in order to now realize, now I've saved myself, I can save others. Yeah. I feel emotional about that still. So I think that's that moment is what created this.
Without that, there wouldn't be any Donae'O.
No, there wouldn't be a man. There'd just be a boy trying to like live a dream that was on paper unrealistic. The man made it realistic.
Understood. Donae'O,
yeah.
Thank you so much for today.
Good. No, good, bro.
For coming and being a part of the Be Unstoppable podcast. It's been amazing speaking to you, learning how much faith plays a part in your journey, learning about how important it is to walk in your purpose and to understand your purpose, and just understanding your journey from a creative to a businessman to giving back to the community, to the next generation, essentially. It's been a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure talking to you, B.
It's been an absolute pleasure.